Got it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the end of the conference here, sort of our wrap up. Um, this session is just sort of a good open forum for all of us coaches here and you junior coaches. A lot of you guys might be new to this conference, or it's your first or second, maybe third year coming in here. We want your feedback on how the conference went for you, whether you enjoyed it, what speakers did you like, what would you change if you could change anything, sort of just like general overview, because the conference is for coaches and it's my role is to make sure that this works for coaches. So we need feedback to make sure that next year, if we want to make changes or improvements, now's the time to say it. There'll also be a more anonymous official feedback that you'll get for the conference later, but this is sort of a good time to chat it through with other people, bounce ideas, as well as just sort of like, what did you enjoy most? What did you learn most from this? Like, that's a good time to idea share, sort of see where everyone's feeling and go from there. So it's kind of going to be a bit unstructured. If you just want to talk, unmute yourself and bring up some ideas, but I figure we just start off with, as simple as, what was the best part about the conference, or what would you make different? General chatting. Anyone, go ahead, unmute and start.
Garrett's presentation on goal setting was absolutely amazing. I loved it.
You like Gareth, got it. I'm going to be taking notes this whole time.
Yeah, so I missed a lot of the conference because I had to work all day yesterday, but everything I went to, I thought it seemed like really relevant to what we're going to have to do this summer. So the periodization and the planning at the start, I found that really helpful because I don't know a lot about that. And maybe it's not as useful for me because I typically work with like really young groups. But I thought the power of pause, that's something that's really interesting. And I kind of been doing that with swimmers before races and stuff and not quite realizing it. So I think that's really neat. And I liked learning about how I can kind of apply that. And then what Gareth talked about like creating an engaging and kind of motivating environment for the swimmers to set goals and work on stuff. I thought that was really great because I think that, at least for me, is a big part of this summer, getting back to it. I think it's going to be great to kind of get the energy up and get things going after like 1 or 2 years off. So yeah.
Awesome. So we liked Gareth, we like Adam Decker and the periodization. Anyone else?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sav, go ahead.
I really liked the talk yesterday on just general coaching tips and tricks.
Carl Cooper.
Yeah, I found it really, really useful and helpful, just little things, especially when he was, sorry, my dog's over here, he's really loud. When he was talking about how to deal with parents, because that's something that I definitely find really intimidating. So I really liked the keeping parents off the pool deck, and when your swimmers are in the water, that time is for them.
Yep.
And you can contact after.
We used to run a whole breakout session when we were in person, and hopefully we can get back to it. And I think I saw Danny come in here too. Danny likes to run one called How to Handle Difficult Parents, which is quite useful. And if you haven't been that or heard of that, hopefully we can get that coming back as well, and it'll delve more into that too. Yeah. Anyone else? Thoughts? Sav, you and
I was.
Aya, go.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing as Sav. Like, it's really really good to have some tips on coaching and stuff, especially going in like as a first year coach and having done only a little bit of kind of like training and stuff. Getting to have some tips on how to do things is kind of helpful for that. The periodization was good, especially like I've been not really thinking about it, but like not worried, but writing a whole season plan seems really daunting to me. So having that presented to me in different ways of how to do it and how to structure it was really good. Yeah, I don't know. I obviously the conference was hard, like having it online, but it was I really liked all the presentations. It was really good.
Sweet. Kind of actually bouncing off that question, or off that answer, we tried to This year had a lot more speakers that weren't necessarily as swim specific. In previous years, a lot of times we'd have like 3 full breakout sessions directly. We'd have a breast, fly, free, and back. Then we'd have a dives and turns clinic. We'd have all these other different pieces. This year we thought it might just be easier because 1, we're online, 2, it's hard to find speakers, and 3, getting everyone together and sort of following the same flow might be kind of interesting. My internal thought on it was that even though a lot of these talks might be advanced for the level of your coaching at this point, like the periodization, you guys might be coaching 4 to 6 year olds in water. You don't need to know about energy system, like that type of stuff. It's still important for you to see that they're there and they're prevalent, and it's a good introduction to that, while also getting people like Carl Cooper to come in and really, like, even for senior coaches, he's a good initial benchmark of like, this is where we got to start thinking again and build your way up from that. So if that worked, great. If it didn't, let me know. Should we have more swim specific stuff for you guys as junior coaches, or do you think it was nice having sort of the bigger, grander keynote types of talks as well? Thoughts?
Hi.
Rada.
Hi. I really enjoyed the speakers that we had for this conference. Like, the only conference I've been to before was the 2019, where we did have a lot of the swim specifics, but I have been coaching for a while. So it's really awesome to see a bunch of speakers who, they might not be swim specific, but it's a whole bunch of topics that really can tie into the sport of swimming, right? And my favorite part about all of it was many of the different speakers, all of their topics kind of tie in together, and you can make it work all together for a really cohesive season for the swimmers, and you can give them the best experience possible. Like mindfulness and meditation, the mindfulness can come into the self-compassion that we heard about earlier. And then the self-compassion can help with the goal setting, right? Like if a swimmer doesn't achieve their goals, you can still tell them to be compassionate that, oh, hey, but here are all the steps that you still accomplished, right? It all works together. And I think that's something that I'm definitely going to use with my coaching.
Sweet.
Yeah, like kind of like same as Arata and Aya, like I really did, like I enjoyed the speakers, and I thought it was kind of neat, like even though the ones I went to, it wasn't like super specific to swimming, it's kind of like I can still relate it really, really easily. And it's nice because I can take that and I can apply it to other places as well. So it's more than just with coaching, like the mindfulness thing, that's really useful. And as she mentioned, that's kind of a life skill. And like the other place I work can be really stressful. So the more I know about that, the better, I think. And then same as Aya, like even though, yeah, like I coach really young swim groups, I don't need this super specific season plan. I'm still thinking, like, what if they give me like an older group and I need to do something like that, and I have no idea. I didn't even know where to start with that. Like, I don't know, flip turns, like.
Fair.
I think bouncing off of what Ella said, when it comes to season planning, you don't necessarily need a very specific one. I think that's what he was trying to say earlier. You don't need a very specific plan. And when it does come to the junior groups, you still need an idea of where you want to end the season, right? Like what Gareth was saying, look at the group above them. What are these kids able to do? You want to get your group to that level by the end of the season so that they can start moving forward, I think.
Teach with the end in mind. Where do you want them to be? How are you going to get them there?
Yeah, I like that.
Sorry, that's the teacher in me. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of positives, which is great. I mean, that means it went well. Is there anything you guys would want to change, like even schedule wise? I know we're online, so it's kind of hard, but was there anything that sort of like you wish went a little better or differently?
I just wanted to say, I was gonna add this before, but like, this is my first time, so even though it's online, if a talk is like more than an hour or like an hour, 2 hours, then maybe we should have like a 5-minute break or something, just because it's a lot of just sitting there, and sometimes you can get like distracted and like kind of zone out, even though the information's really important. So yeah, just like little breaks, but like I don't know what it's like in person. I only know like online, which yeah. So if we have
But
another online one,
I'll
yeah.
take that. We'll look into that.
I
think that's
totally
not a
agree
bad
with
idea.
that. Like some of the 2-hour ones were really long, and like sitting there trying to like focus and like get all that information was a little bit much. So I think probably shortening them or having little breaks. I agree with Jasmine on that one.
Izzy, your hands up.
I would have loved more social opportunities. I really enjoyed the wine and cheese networking. And if we could have something like that, maybe, 2 out of the 3 days of the conference, I just thought it was a great time and was a really good way to get to know people who are also on the conference.
Enjoyed that too quite a bit. Not many people came to it though, I don't think. Not as many as we expected. Ella?
Yeah, I was, because like for me, like I had to miss the entire day yesterday, and that was like it is what it is, and that's unfortunate. But luckily everything's recorded.
And she's gone. I'm gonna let her keep talking though. She thinks she's still talking.
Rather than trying to bang it all out in like one weekend, if they stretched it over like a week and just did like 1 to 2 hour sessions like every day that week or every other day or something.
Spread it out, spacing. The senior coaches had a similar comment as well. Sophie Peer, your hands up.
I think going off like what everyone has been saying, like jazz and stuff, maybe even like 10 or 15, make sure there's 10 or 15-minute breaks between talks too, because I felt like I didn't really have time to like go eat lunch or go eat, and then I wanted to have my camera on, but I didn't want to be like eating in front of a bunch of people, and like, so kind of making sure that there's like a space to go and do your own thing, so that you're also not like processing all this information, trying to think about it, going to the next thing, taking all the notes down, so just like some more time to be able to process and then like get up and move around also, so you're not just sitting there at your desk all day.
More gaps, more breaks.
I definitely found myself like making my lunch, breakfast, or dinner and then eating it, but having the camera off and bringing my phone all around the house with me while doing that. So breaks would be awesome.
A quick note on that. Normally when we were in person at Rockridge, and we don't know what it's going to look like next year necessarily either. There's like dedicated meal times, and then it was like really high intensity back to back to back to back to back stuff. So it is different here, and a bit touch on that social piece too. I remember we used to play basketball or octoball. There'd be a lot more games time as well. So incorporating that into online is something that we'll look into do more of as well for next year if we're online again, or we do some other pieces like this. I think that's good additions to bring in. Any other thoughts? What can we do better? What do you guys want to see more of? Even speakers wise, is there any topics that you'd be curious about that we could do? Ruben.
I enjoyed doing anything. Like there was a little just a little I think it was like a 45-minute one where we just like played Kahoots. And I'm kind of young, so maybe I'm biased there, but I really enjoyed that. So maybe like a few, I don't know, more of those would be fun.
Cool. Kahoot was a success. Got
also, it. On the one where,
I think we should.
Oh, sorry. There was one where it was back to back, and it went from one straight into another. I forget. The second one was breaststroke. It was an hour and a half. I found it difficult to focus that whole time. So maybe the breaks too, definitely.
Okay, sounds good. Our breaststroke speaker likes to talk a lot too. He likes to ram a lot of information in. So we learned that this weekend. And I think that was, in the education world, we call that cognitive overload, where you reach that point where you're just like, oh, I'm out, It's all good information you want to take in, but it's too much. So we'll take that into mind for sure.
We still have 2 Kahoots.
We do still have 2 Kahoots left. Maybe we'll send them out throughout the season. Any other thoughts? Anything else that we can improve upon? Rada?
I feel like I'm talking a lot, but whatever.
Do it.
I really liked the yoga session that we had. I think, especially swim specific, I think that's really awesome to teach swimmers how to stretch and do kind of dryland exercises that are good and specific to our sport, and they'll tie into when they're in the water, especially with younger ones. If you can strengthen their shoulders out of the water, they'll be stronger in the water, that kind of thing. So I think in the future, some more like dryland focused sessions would be cool, where you can learn how to strengthen the core, especially for young kids as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wish when we did the yoga, we dedicated maybe like half of it at the beginning to learning how to teach it to our kids, and what kind of exercises are really good and which ones are maybe not so good for especially younger ones. And then the second half, we tried them out ourselves. So maybe making it a little bit of a longer session or just splitting that time up a little bit better.
Having some teaching component with it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Cool. I agree. We've done some of those in the past too. So we'll look at bringing them back for sure. Any other thoughts? I see a lot of blank faces here. Sophie Pierre.
Same thing as like the yoga thing, but for the mindfulness, like ways that we can teach that to younger swimmers too, because they're not necessarily going to want to sit down for 5 minutes and listen to a guided breathing session, but like ways that we can like subtly incorporate that into practices and drylands and stuff.
Cool. Makes sense. Easy Rich.
Yeah, when she mentioned for a 6-year-old to sit for 6 minutes, I actually don't know a single 6-year-old who could sit still quietly for 6 minutes.
I can't.
Unless they're watching a video game or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're watching those toy unboxing videos, maybe, but
This kind of just gave me the idea. I've got a subscription for Headspace, which is a mindfulness and meditation app, right? They have specific guided meditations for different age groups. Like they have ones for 3 to 5-year-olds and like 5 to 8-year-olds, 8 to 12 kind of thing. And I don't know if I'm like allowed to use those guided. They're like 2 to 5 minute long. You can choose. Like, could I use those with my own groups? Like the dryland thing, right?
What would stop you?
Right? No, I don't know. Not being allowed to have my phone out.
That's stupid.
Right.
If you're doing mindfulness, why not? Maybe I'll touch on that actually. As young coaches, there's a lot of, I guess there's a lot of fear of like making sure you do things right. Hopefully your clubs are situated where you guys are welcome to try new things, you know, if you want. And I think a lot of this conference has brought forward a lot of ideas in that way. So I hope you guys take some of those and try them out. Talk to your other staff about it too. Talk to your coaches. And you know, if it doesn't work, don't do it again, you know, but if it works, it might be cool to incorporate.
Yeah, I have one fun activity that I do with my kids that's kind of unique and different. And I do I play the YMCA on a big speaker, and then I have them like do vertical kick and do the YMCA in the water to work on their core strength. And it's just kind of little things like that. I wish we, in our tips and tricks lesson, we learned a little bit more stuff like that.
More the goofy side of coaching, the fun side of it.
Yeah, especially for summer swimming, because that's what I loved about it when I was a swimmer, and that's what I really want to bring to my kids.
I think that's true. There's a lot of engagement pieces to bring forward as young coaches. Like, it's weird. I remember being in your seat. I remember being a young coach. I never thought I'd turn into an old coach, but look at me. I have a beard. But you know, being a young coach, you have so many ideas, so many cool things that you can bring forward. And I guess I'm old now, and so my ideas that I'm getting more rooted in what I like to do. So us old folks actually like seeing new coaches and bring ideas, try new things, come up with cool things. You can teach us things, right?
Absolutely.
Hopefully you're situated for that.
With regard to the reference about the butterfly specific portion, unfortunately that the presenter has some family emergencies going on and wasn't able to come. but I'm gonna see if we can maybe schedule something at a later date, and I will send that out to all of the clubs so that you all know that that is coming. Actually, Lee, I was wondering if that's something Bailey can do as well.
Probably. I don't know if Bailey's best breaststroke coach,
Butterfly.
Or butterfly.
Okay, well, you tell me, because
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
I was gonna say as well, like we're, as coaches rep here too, there's a lot of knowledge in the senior coaching staff of our province. Reach out to us, reach out to your head coaches, reach out to me as well. I have some ideas for Fly as well. So I might even have a whole presentation. I don't know if I have it lined up, but we're here to chat, and we're all here to make sure kids get better. So I know I'm willing to offer up some advice. It might take some time for me to get to you if you email me things. Just I have a lot going on, but my role is to support you, every single coach in this province. So if you need support, let me know.
Is that something that could be useful, like every couple of weeks sharing of ideas session like this? Like, hey, let's all share some ideas on, I don't know, some kind of topic. You have a specific topic. That's just a thought.
Anyone?
Like regular Zoom calls just to share ideas.
I
like
think
that
that would
idea.
be great. Yeah, that'd be an excellent idea.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like that idea, especially coming from a smaller coaching staff. I think it's really cool to collaborate with a whole bunch of different people from across the province and see what kind of ideas they can bring.
Say anyone that isn't White Rapids want to answer, but Sav, you got it. Anyone else?
It's almost like the start of a mentorship program, actually, is what I was thinking, is that there is no official mentorship programs in BCSSA, and maybe that's something that you and I can talk about later.
Yep.
The senior coaches mentoring younger coaches, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Pretty easy to do.
I got some ideas for that. I can make it work. Yeah. Anything else you guys wanna talk about? Conference wise,
hello.
skill wise. Oh, hi.
So something that got brought up in like the regional roundup yesterday as well was with a lot of the stroke corrections and stuff, there's sometimes just new techniques being brought about. So like things that like need to be improved, and like the coaching staff, since we like learned it the old way, like we no longer know what the new ways to do stuff are. So sometimes like our coaching methods get a little bit outdated.
Mm-hmm.
And then also so like yes, I would maybe like to see something like a presentation sharing all the new the
like new current trendy
yeah, like all the
swim.
changes that have happened, like so we know all the corrections that need to be made now. Also something that was said in chat, I'm not sure if you saw, and like same with it got brought up yesterday at the regional roundup, was specifically for turns, just like how to teach turns, and like specifically like the IM turns, because there's apparently new ways to do that.
Yeah, there's three ways to do an IM turn these days, and if you ask any coach, they'll tell you
it's like
one's fast, one's hard,
there's like
and
a new
lazy.
term that like I hadn't heard before, and there's like
did they call it a rollover or a crossover?
Yeah, the crossover turn. And like
crossover.
I'm not sure if that was the same as like the other turns, like bucket turns or swivel turns or whatever.
It's different.
Yeah, different.
But you're right.
And I don't know I haven't heard of the crossover turn yet. So I'm like, oh yeah, there's new stuff that I haven't heard of. So it would have definitely been nice to learn about that kind of thing.
Okay, new trends in swimming. I'll take note of that.
Almost like coaching standards. Like this is these are the techniques for this year, or the new changes or something.
There's new ways to do relay takeovers too. There's about 6 or 7 different ways. So, and then there's 3 IM turns. There's about 40 different ways to swim breaststroke. There's 3 ways to do an open turn. Flip turns, there's about 2 or 3 that are about fast. Like, you're right. There are so many different ways, and what is fastest, what is right to teach, what is the right way to do it. I think that's something we can definitely reach upon.
So if these were offered outside of the conference, that people would be keen?
There's even some good resource videos that we can send out about them all.
So many
There's a guy on YouTube. I'll just say one of them now. There's a guy on YouTube called My Swim Pro or something like that. He breaks down swimming videos like pretty slow, and he goes in huge whiteboard talks. But he's frequently talking about just like, here's the physics of a turn. Here's, you know, this is a new type of turn. Blah blah blah. Here's what's actually happening. So take a look. You guys are young coaches. Take it into your own hands now. You get to start exploring the swimming world. It's lovely. There's so many
I
coaches
love the
exchange.
comment from Danny that there's no right way to do a stroke or turn, but there are some illegal ways.
Yeah. Know the rule book. And our rule book's slightly different than Swim BC's as well. So if you guys swam in Swim Canada, Swim BC, Swim Alberta, our rules are almost identical, but there might be some minor differences. So
I think there's only two differences, Lee.
There's only two now, and even then, I think we basically got those pretty tightened up.
And yeah, the start's only slightly different, and we have one slight difference in butterfly. Our swimmers are allowed to do a whip kick.
Right. Should you teach it like that, though? The answer is no. Yeah. Any other final thoughts or anything else you guys want for next year when you come back?
Yeah. Sorry. I like the comment. Someone mentioned mental health, and that's something like I think we talk a lot about, at least when I've been swimming. Like we'll hear a lot about like how to like stretch after practices, take care of yourself physically, but I'm wondering like how to take care of yourself mentally. Because well, like some people may be better at that because of their experiences. There's some people that like still need to develop those skills, and of course it's like heavily stigmatized, unfortunately, but I think like I like the idea of heading in the direction where like mental health is kind of on the same level as physical health. It's considered like if you went to the doctor because you're sick, that would be kind of the same thing as going to a therapist or counselor because you're like stressed out. But like kind of like how to sort of like implement normalizing that and kind of that thought process when you're coaching, if that makes sense. Like something about that would be interesting.
Sweet. I'll add that to the list. Quentin, you were gonna say something. If you still want to speak.
Yeah, so have one on communication. So like for age groups and yeah.
What type of communication? Like to parents, to swimmers, or how did like what are we thinking?
Parents to swimmers, coaches to swimmers, just like etiquette standards and that sort of thing.
Sweet. How to write a proper email for your first time as a professional coach. That can be a big deal. You know, emailing 200 parents can be a bit intimidating sometimes if you've never done it. Yeah. Any other final thoughts here? Now, speak now or forever hold your peace and let us know anonymously. Seeing nothing really coming up. Yeah, that's kind of been. Penny, go ahead.
I was just going to say, feel free to send an email if you don't want to say it out loud here because you might offend Lee. Feel free to send me a message. And if you don't want to offend me, send Lee a message.
If you're White Rapids, you better talk to me first. Or
no, they have the ability to make a harassment claim without talking to you first.
Correct. So with that in mind, then I think we'll probably wrap this up a little bit early. Let you guys go. There's another session. There's a BCSSA Q&A if any of you guys are interested about grilling the board and what's coming up in the season for the board, and then we'll do a little wrap up after that as well. So if you want to stick around and join those sessions, you're welcome to.
You keep using this grilling concept and roasting concept. You know, whatever happened to just a chat?
Danny, I'm ready to defend my honor in the next hour.
Well, it's not until 12:30, so you can relax for a little bit.
Go grab some lunch. Yeah, I wanted to thank you guys all. If I don't see you there, have a wonderful season. Hope you all are managed to get in the water and take something away from this conference and actually put it into your practice and start applying these techniques that we learned. So really appreciate you all showing up. There's a lot of you here still, so thank you all.
Me and Danny, can you guys hang out for a minute?
Yeah, we'll hang out for a minute.
Yeah.
And I will hopefully see you around. If not, good luck, and let me know if you need anything, okay? I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you.